Jim Laub, President and CEO of Cache Valley Electric, is a longtime contributor and advisor to USU Athletics. Jim and his wife Carol have made significant financial contributions to USU Athletics and facility projects over the years. He served on the USU Board of Trustees and the USU Foundation Board of Directors and is a current member of USU's National Advisory Board for Athletics.
The earliest memories I would have of Utah State athletics would obviously be football. John Ronning, one of our head coaches in the 1950s, was a close friend of our family, and I remember him and a lot of his players coming around the house a few times. But the first real memories I have of athletic events probably would be University of Utah football games, because I remember going down there when I was a little kid, and one of probably the first most vivid memories I would have would be the University of Utah football game the day that, a few days after President Kennedy was assassinated. That was a traumatic event for a lot of people, and the game was close and somewhat controversial, but that would be the first major sporting event concerning Utah State University that I'd remember. Mickey Mantle and Wayne Estes were my heroes at that particular time in my life, but Wayne Estes was a special individual. Not only was he a great athlete, but the thing I remember most about him was his work ethic, because when he first came to Utah State, I've had Liddell and Nog Hansen and various other people tell me the story. He wasn't really a highly recruited basketball player. He had the natural talent, but he worked hard to make sure he got everything he could out of his natural ability, and he was very humble with his success. I remember I was going to Edith Bowen Laboratory School on campus, and Estes it wouldn't be unusual for Estes to come over at recess and play basketball with the kids, and that's something that's always stuck with me, is how great he was with the young kids. And of course, being able to contribute towards the Wayne Estes Center on campus here, that's a great way to memorialize his memory. And like I've said many times in the media, so many people I was starting to see had no idea who Wayne Estes was and what he meant to the community. So this is a great opportunity to memorialize his name and make it last forever. As far as myself being able to be in a position to help Utah State make the leap from the WAC into the Mountain West Conference, the timing was just right. We have a great president in President Albrecht. We have a great athletic director in Scott Barnes. Our coaching staff is probably at a level it hasn't been for many, many years, if ever. So the opportunity just presented itself, and it was a point in my life where I could make a significant contribution to help us cross the finish line to get to the Mountain West Conference. And I hope my contribution accomplishes that goal. Well, the greatest satisfaction I probably get is when you actually see success either on the field or in the classroom, really. How can any of us forget the Utah game last fall when we beat them in overtime, and the students stormed the field and the community was excited and the student athletes were excited? I mean, that's where you start to see the bona fide success on the field. And then along with that, when you read the releases where Utah State athletics is rated academically, not only in the conference but in the country. So it's not just satisfaction on the field, but it's satisfaction in the classroom, and it all goes hand in hand. Well, over the years, the student athletes, beginning when I was, I guess, a small 9 or 10-year-old boy, I looked up to them as my heroes during that period of my life. But and I guess it's evolved from the time when I was at Utah State, and I actually went to school with a lot of the student athletes and became to know them on a personal basis. And a lot of them became friends, some of them lifetime friends, like Bob Larisky. But now I guess as I've evolved into this phase of my life and been able to provide some facilities for the student athletes, I guess I look at them more as a kind of a parent relationship. I want to make sure that they have a good positive environment at Utah State University and their experience at Utah State. when they leave as a positive experience for them. And I want them to, everything I want to provide for them is a first-class environment, much I guess you would like to for your family.